You know, they say by popular demand again, we have Mr. KK today with us. We are really thankful to you for coming one more time, you know, because I think not all that they wanted to learn can be learned in a small session that happened. And we want to kind of, you know, extract more value from your experience. And, you know, we're really happy that you're here. And we had already kind of shared a number of questions with you that, you know, the students from our batch wanted to kind of know from your experience. So, very warm welcome to you.
Hey, good evening. This is the pressure test for me. Alright. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me again. Right. When Venkat said that he wanted one more session and you guys said ask me last time, I said I'm happy to come. So let's make it a little interactive. I know that there are questions. So when I saw the questions, I love the questions. But the questions were interesting that I could not make a PPT to answer those questions. Right? Can you reduce the volume? Okay. So the way I want to do it is, I want to do it more as a Q&A format, so we can discuss in the way, right? So let's start. Whoever wants to start, what are the first questions? But before we start, I just want to make one clarification on, okay, the gentleman's name was taking the question. I must clarify to him, I don't know from where this mafia story of Dell distributor happened, right? We don't have a double bubble. We don't pay our distributors for selling to Chroma. What we have is a shop-in-shop format, right? So in Chroma, you will not experience it that way. You will go to a Chroma and buy a Dell product like you buy all other products. But the format that we have is a shop-in-shop, which means that Chroma actually doesn't keep the Dell stock. Right? So we have a person who is paid by Dell, who keeps the stocks there, who sells Dell to you. You get a Chroma invoice. Okay? So you as a consumer would get a Chroma invoice. You as a consumer have no apprehension of it not being sold to you by Chroma. Having said that, the deal with Chroma helps us to manage the customer experience better. It's as good as having an exclusive store within Chroma. Right? So the cost of holding goods is off. Right? Chroma is not holding goods, so I'm able to negotiate better in terms of holding the goods. Right? I'm actually paying, technically, if you look at it in a different manner, I'm actually paying the rental for the floor space. Right? So all of you go to malls, right? You'll certainly find one corn fellow standing in one corner. You'll find one person selling all these jewelry items, small items. Essentially, what they're trying to do is get walk-ins, footfalls are happening. So they're paying for the rental of the space. They're not driving traffic, right? But they pay the rental and they're trying to capture the sales also. So that's what we do in Chroma, right? So there's no double dip. Yeah. Yes. Yes. In terms of so there are three models, right? One model is where you have shoppers stop having their own employees to sell the range of products, right? Then what you find is that you'll find a Revlon person say that, you know what, Shopper Stop is not doing a great job of positioning my product. So they go to Shopper Stop and tell Shopper Stop, you know what, I will give you an in-store promoter or an in-store demonstrator who will help sell more of Revlon. You don't have to invest in the person, I will invest, but that person will do the sales job and all revenue still comes to you, right? So that's the second model. And the third model is ours, where so in the second model, the stocks are still with shopper stock. The inventory is still the shopper stock, right? But the salesperson is the third party, right? In the third model, like ours, where the stocks are also not with Chroma. So technically what happens is, because you get a Chroma invoice, it's actually two invoices which happen immediately. So Chroma in the system buys a product from my distributor and sells to you instantly, right? So that's how they do the goods inward and goods outward. Otherwise, if you don't have the goods in your name, you can't raise an invoice, right? So that in-store promoter model varies from company to company. It works well when you want to influence the customer and you want to get some sales, but it can also be a big pain in the neck for the retailer, because if you have so many in-store promoters, a customer experience is bad, right? So when a customer goes there, you find, you find the LG guy pulling him, you find the Samsung guy pulling him, you guys find the Sony guy pulling him. The guy says, look, I don't want a TV, I'm off. Instead of getting this. So you, in places where they have it, they have now a balance. So each guy will actually now step back, wait for the customer. If the customer goes to a LG counter, wait for the LG guy to finish. If the customer goes to Samsung guy, they do that. There are companies like Vijay Sales. I don't know if you know Vijay Sales. They're a chain of retail outlets in Mumbai. Like you have the Pi and Gideas here. They are in Mumbai, they are in Gujarat, and they are in Delhi. They actually have got rid of all these store remotes. They said, hey, my customers are getting a very bad experience, so I want to get out of it, and we'll only have people who are paid by Vijay Sales, and they are not getting influenced by the digital brand. Right? So those are three models that we find from our in-store demonstration.
Was there any strategy which was missing, or what was that strategical overpowering of Dell which became number one, or which overtook Compaq and HP together? What was that missing?
Within that strategy, add the product strategy.
Manager do part of what exactly the product manager got to do when he has to define product strategy?
In this context?
One is general, and obviously in this context both.
Okay. So let me take this question and then we'll add that. So if you look at it, it depends on the life cycle of the company, right? I work for all companies that do, so I don't see people that way. When I used to work in Pepsi, we used to say, you see a police station, what color is it? The board. Red. Post office, fire brigade, all used to see. Coke. That's the fun we used to have. So if you look at the product life cycle, right, the product strategy varies at different phases, right? So what you do as a product manager, and this is, okay, let me actually not call it product life cycle, let me call it company life cycle, right? Depending on the company's life cycle, the product strategies will change. If you're a startup, and you're getting into a particular, you're starting the business, right? A product strategy will be little different. And I'll tell you the core competencies remain the same. And if you are an existing company like Dell, then a product strategy changes. So let's take two examples, right? Let's say you're getting into a business. Tell me something, any product that would have been first time introduced. Anything that comes in life, let's say shoes, right? First time that shoes got introduced ever, right? And then you have a company like Dell, which is already in the PC business and now has decided to introduce phones. Right? So this is a new business, right? This is a new category. The company is not new, but a category is new, right? Okay. Good question. Good question. I will add to that, but I'll come to it in a minute. Just hold your thought there. And then within PC, if I'm introducing, let's say, a gaming PC, right? This is a new product line, right? You're right. It is a new business for them, right? In many ways, it will have a shadow of what you're doing here. It will have, but it has the benefit of the brand, right? So even though it's a new business, it is not standalone, right? It's taking the leverage of a brand. So that's why there are three different ways you want to look at it, right? A product manager's strategy in all three, right, is the core is same, but the layers beyond the core or the ease of doing the core will vary little, right? Fundamental to everything is what customer needs are you fulfilling, right? Very often, why do products fail? From a product manager's point of view, a product can fail only because of, I think, three fundamental reasons, that the way I look at it, right? You did not define the customer need properly, right? As to what need are you fulfilling. The second one, which is critical, is, right, did you have a good strategy to fulfill the need, right? And third, did you keep an eye on the game? This is all about execution. So let's take an example, right? So we said we'll look at shoes. So when you're getting into that shoes, for example, and these people do not have, they're all working there, right? Then you got to find that need and be able to define that need. Then you can get into and say, okay, yes, there's a need. I go to the village and I find 100 people without shoes. There's an opportunity for me to sell the, right? Then you got to figure out this while I'm writing one line is actually a whole lot of stuff, right? As to how do you fulfill that need? You got to start with the product and say, what kind of footwear am I going to give? Right? Am I going to give just the things which people can walk, right? Or which will strap around, or which will protect their entire feet, right? What material am I going to use? So this entire thing around the product is first. The second part of that would be, how do I communicate this need to the customer? Right? Many a time, customers don't know that they have a need, right? And Apple is great in this. Right? One of the reasons why Apple is successful is they have brought out products which customers have never realized that, hey, it's cool to do this. I'd love to do this. Right? Let me talk about two people. You would have heard about. You have the different calligraphy options. Right? It's cool, right? Why should everything be the same form? That Steve Jobs got that idea when he went and actually, to fill a credit requirement, he went and attended a course on calligraphy. Right? And he said, if there's a course on calligraphy, why can't I put it in my PCs and make it easy for my consumers to go use it? Right? So you'll have to figure out the consumer need. You could, which consumers are not thought about, and some of the today's applications that you're seeing about is a function of that. Whether you see a Ola, you see a Flipkart, you see an Amazon, is a function of all that, because there was some people who said there's a consumer need, you can go for it, right? So you got the product, so you got to define the product, you got to define the consumer need, and then the third part is how we want to fulfill that need. Fulfillment is not just the product delivery, but also communicating to the customer that, hey, this product is there and available for you. Right? So that entire strategy is what a product guy should be hands-on. Right? So what you're going through your earlier session on the sales part, right? A product person cannot and should not, right, stay away from defining a go-to-market strategy. Because end of the day, you're fulfilling the need. If the need is not fulfilled properly, right? If you do not get involved in fulfilling that need properly, the product will fail. Right? And then once you made this entire planning, and the last part of this defining the strategy is all products will fail at some point in time. How do you take care of the customer when the product fails? Right? Sorry.
I have two questions related to that. Should I wait till you complete other two?
Sure, it's bothering you right now, so that we take it.
The fidget spinner that is too viral right now. Like, I don't know whether that did have these processes in terms of fulfilling that strategy or what strategy that's communicating the value. Not sure about it. The second is just the Patanjali products, right? I don't know what is the thought process in terms of launching and going through this process. I'm not really sure.
Okay. When did you last buy a chocolate?
Last day chocolate. As recent as 8 first.
Which chocolate did you buy?
Cadbury's.
Cadbury's which one?
Caramel one. I don't know what is it called.
Where did you pick it up?
Yeah, my kids liked it. Where in the shop?
Did you go to buy that and you bought something else and you just took this?
No, no, it's not. We went for that purpose. Okay. Wanted to buy it.
And your child influenced you to go buy?
Probably, but I also like knowing what's it's more from our end than
Look, why I ask you these questions is these are all impulse products which some smart product managers thought about. Right? For you as consumers, it looks like a lame product. But think about the brilliance of so many kids going for it, and think about the adults going for it. Right? Yeah. Why? It's a great de-stressor. Right? It's a great de-stressor. I don't know if during a point in time there used to be a simple spring, which used to be the de-stressor. Right? So then there was those softballs, stress busters, right? So when these products get designed, they are designed again at a level where you can think it is with human psychology as to what does it do. So they are designed with a purpose. So look at this brilliance of the product. On the street, when you stop at a traffic signal, there's somebody selling this to you. Right? You go to the malls, people are selling this to you.
or even at the billing station.
Yeah, as a billing counter. Right. Brilliance in terms of distribution. Product design, fantastic. There's one little flaw that I find on the product, but it's a brilliant product design. The material is fantastic, right?
All the price range.
You have all the price range, right? So there are original, there will be fake. It doesn't matter, but the fact is that if we well-designed product, it balances itself. The purpose of that is to intrigue the human mind by giving it to balance at different points and pair on it. You could do it on a surface, you could do it in hand. Right? So when you see this product, you should start challenging yourself to think this through, that look, a product like that could not have been designed without some thought of it. It was not a random design by someone and said, "Chalo, thoda dosto bana ke market mein becho."
It sounded like that.
It looks like that. It looks like that because and that's why I asked you about chocolates. Because some of these products are impulse purchases. The human mind, as consumers, buy them as impulse. You would never go to a shop to buy a fish unless your child tells you, "Come go buy." Even though as an adult you want it. Right? And then when you go, you say, "Okay, may I get it?" Right? Because the child in us, that's a human psychology, right? The child in us is what the product manager is exploiting. It is. Right? Irrespective of whatever age you are, there's always a child in you. And that's what gets exploited by people who sell impulse category products. So think about it two ways. There are rational products, and there are impulse products. Broadly, if you look at it, right? And impulse products always, in my experience, appeal to the child. Can I just finish this and I'll come back to you? Right? Yes, give your point. This was bothering me in my question, so I just thought I'd take this question. I'll come back to your right? So the last part is, it's not enough to have a strategy. You've got to be able to go and execute it. It's what I call about, the difference between having a great architect who's had a brilliant drawing, finding a contractor who goes and transforms that beautiful design into an actual building, right? So those are the three things that, to answer your question, for any product manager to take care of, right? And then as he's making the strategy, he will know that there are places where he cannot leverage. There are places that he can leverage, right? So if I were to look at a company like Dell and when we introduced the phones, the places that we could leverage was the brand. But it's also risky because if the phones fail, it also has an impact on the PCs, right? And therefore, there's a separate study or the whole thing on branding, right? So for brand extensions, or you should use some other brands, and so on and so forth, right? But that's what is related to your question of while it's a new business, it leverages off the brand. There are things that you could leverage, there are things that you could keep away. So there are leverages in terms of production, there is leverage in terms of procurement, there is leverage in terms of your entire supply chain, logistics, in terms of your sales and distribution, in terms of your marketing. So the various things that they could leverage from each other, which a product manager here does not get an opportunity, right? As a company, you would want as much synergy as possible because you don't want to invest money to start a new business completely new like this process. Right? You already have an established way of doing this business and you want to do this. Right? The third aspect is when you're doing a new product line, right? The complexities are much, much lesser. But having said that, you still have to think, why is this being introduced different from the rest? Right? So, while I talk about technology products, this is one. During my Wipro days, we had introduced a product called Spray. Right? You don't know I don't think it's there. There used to be a Margot. Have you heard of this? Neem, right? Tulsi? Yeah. Right. So, Wipro Chicago was doing very well. It sells very well, right? So, Wipro was in this phase that our core is that the Santur, which is based on sandalwood, Chicago, which is based on Chicago. So, two natural ingredient based soaps were doing well, right? And there was an opportunity for a market where they said, should we go explore the opportunity between neem and tulsi, and that's how they got in this product called Spray. It didn't do well, right? But that's an example of you being within the soap category, right? And then deciding to introduce a new product line. So, as a product strategist, you still need to go through these. But again, you are a little different from the core, right? So, to answer your question on the product strategy, that's the core thing that you need to do, right?
In Dell's case,
okay, go ahead. I was coming to Dell, but go ahead. Let me take both of this.
so in Dell's case, if you say Latitude and Inspire, all the category. And when you say Latitude has multiple versions, that is product lines, or is Inspire and Latitude are the product lines, and
how do you know about Latitude?
I use Latitude.
You use Latitude. Okay. And how do you know what it's about?
Because I've heard about it.
You've heard about it. Okay. So, when you work somewhere, then you bought the Latitude, the company gave you, or you bought it?
Okay, so my company, we buy from Dell directly.
So that's Latitude is a Dell
All the Latitude from we buy.
company.
But every time I
The
get
companies are replicas.
Yeah, okay. Why I ask this question is, both are sub-brands. Dell Latitude and Dell Inspire, right? They're different product lines. Product lines. Sub-brands, right? You have a range of products. We have actually three: Latitude, Vostro, and the Inspiron. So what we look at is the Inspiron is primarily focused on the consumers. The Latitude is more on the pure corporates, and Vostro is more for the small businesses. Now, Vostro, VOSTRO. Yeah, not good.
I am good.
Huh?
Because we got Vostro, performance is so bad, so I had to convince my manager no more Vostros, then we shifted to Latitude. Even for Latitude, smallest version we buy, I know the price is higher, the performance is good.
And
So I won't
your definition of performance as a customer?
one is we run a lot of Microsoft technologies and we have engine. So the performance is speed. So to run some R and go in a Boston machine versus to run that in a Boston machine, it is much faster. And when you open multiple applications, you can use SQL Server and Excel, and then with a higher number of data, it is actually faster.
Okay. I'm not asking this question as a Dell person. I'm asking this again as a customer. Okay. Just so you clear. As a product guy asking a customer. Okay, so I want you to get this. I'm not asking, standing as a Dell can ask. Now, what she asked as a product person, if you are in the technology space, you should realize that it has nothing to do with the Latitude or a storage. Right? The performance as you define is a function of the processor, the hard drive, the memory, and the operating system. Right? But as product managers, you need to know that's how the customer is perceiving the brand. Right? In reality, the product manager, the way we define the three different, is more actually on the security features, right? And manageability features. Latitude is more from a manageability. So if I have 5,000 employees sitting in 40 different locations, I can do remote manageability of all these machines sitting in one place, right? I have the security features which are there for me. I can upload my patch and so on and so forth, right? Vostro has much watered down requirement for the commercial segment, and Inspiron is purely consumer, does not have most of this. I'm not picking on you, I'm just taking this as product manager, just so that you start thinking, right? That's how company has done the positioning of the three products. But positioning is useless. It's not her fault. That's positioning is her fault. That's why she's not. She's very clear that great. From that point of view, we're getting the value for money because that is the most expensive. Right? But as product managers, it's a case that you should start thinking that, and that is why this market research and surveys are important for you. That is the consumer perceiving your brand the way you want it to be perceived. Right? Because finally, positioning is in the consumer's mind. Whatever you do in your Excel sheet, PowerPoint, it doesn't matter. Right? So that's critical from a point of view. I'll come back to your question in a minute. So, as product managers, when you look at the strategy, right, you should get into defining, saying, the customer need, right, and then getting into saying, you have to get involved in the strategy of fulfilling that, and then getting involved in the execution of that. So, I don't know if I told this last time, but it's like the ringmaster of the circus, right? Yeah, the product manager is the ringmaster of the circus. You want to ensure that the show goes on with everybody, or as they would say in the Sutradhar, right? He or she is the only person who understands this whole thing end to end, and therefore I would always trust my P&L only to the product person, right? Trust my P&L only to the product person, not to the sales guy. Ask me why. Sales guys are the guys who are paid to go find a customer. But why would you trust your...
You know the complete history, because sales guy can make up a story. This didn't happen or this didn't work out because your product was bad. But they should not have done the right homework. But product manager would know really exactly what is the features and what is capability of the product and how much.
That's one aspect.
The pricing is generally part of the product manager. The sales guy can actually bring down the price and facility sales.
See, the sales guy's motivation is to get the customer to buy, right? Even if you put him on a P&L, finally he is going to say that I need to sell. So his inclination of getting the price at what should be the right price is always difficult, right? He's the one who's day in day out meeting customers, so he's always under pressure to go sell the product. He's under pressure to sell the product, right? Because finally, only when he sells the revenue happens, only when he sells the margin happens. So sales guys by nature will be under pressure to sell. And by nature, a sales guy, in my mind, is always lousy if he does not ask for the lowest price. By nature, a sales guy should always ask for the lowest price because that's the easiest way to sell, right? So he or she will always come back and ask for the lowest price. Whereas a product manager is the one who will keep it honest and say, hey, you know what, I need to get more value. I need to get more value, right? And that's the check and balance that we need to have. And that's why when you look at compensation, you will find that salespersons are usually on fixed and variable, right? You get sellers, you get commissions. Whereas a product guy usually is on fixed and fixed plus annual bonus. That's how it's defined, so that they're not chasing the number the way a product guy should, right? Okay, let's go to sorry. Where does the product strategy end and where does the sales strategy start? Yes, it's that baton, you do the relay race. The baton shift happens when the product manager is able to train the sales guys on what customer need is getting fulfilled. Right? So a salesperson needs to know why am I selling this product and what customer need is getting fulfilled. And all customer interface is the sales guy. A product guy can go along just to understand, like I would have gone along with my sales guy to meet her and figure out how is my product being perceived by her. But I will keep my mouth shut in the actual sales process if I have a product person, right? So sales job starts when they meet the customer, knock on the door, get the money out of the customer's pocket. Getting the PO, purchase order, is the money out of the customer's pocket. That is a sales job. Right? So it begins when he gets to know what need is fulfilled and he's paid for the product. Then it's all the things. Right? What was your question on Patanjali?
So, what do you think is the strategy behind from the customer need and strategy to go to market as well, right? Because
that's the easiest one. There's a fear of poor health. Right?
But that has created such an impact? Or
there are tactics that you use, different people use differently.
Okay. Because it's almost replacing all the MNC's products, right?
It is, but why?
That's a question.
What did it start with? Which product got banned?
Maggie.
By whom? Where? No.
Yeah.
Who banned it? Where? For what?
Lead content in India.
Nobody knows. Honest answer.
Okay.
Right? I mean, all of us live in this country. One small lab sitting in one remote corner of a state tested that this product is unhealthy, which has been running in this country for 25 years. Right? And then you suddenly find another brand coming up. Now, this could be, I'm not saying they're linked, but it does, as a product manager, you should start thinking, right? It gives you certainly a competitive advantage. Right? Now, with so much of impurity in different kinds of food, here's a brand which certainly is propagated by some person who is very healthy, who is going and looking into his form of health is dependent not on any modern science, dependent on the ancient Indian science. Right? And he uses that to go and propagate that to people. What in the previous session he was saying is that people want to get healthier. They don't know what to call it. Right? So I would look into two parts. I would look into, say, as product manager of Patanjali for different products, what is your strategy and how are you going to grow? And second assignment, you think about saying that if you are working in an MNC and competing with Patanjali, how will you compete? Right? So let's take some examples, right? Which category is under threat? If you are in Patanjali as a product manager, you can today pretty much pick up any product and do a new category. Right? Correct?
Yeah. And brand as a
And you have a brand and the brand will take care. Right? Now let's think that you're working in Colgate. What's going to be your challenge against Patanjali Gurus? Right? Now, you also have to think, how many of you have heard about eco-version? Yeah. Similar lines, right?
but it will but it's
All of them.
but it's not as as fast growing or it has reached levels that Patanjali has reached.
Yes.
But it's also anchored on health, it's anchored on the ancient.
Okay.
Something different.
What makes you think it's not reached? I want to challenge you. Have you done research and figure out, does Dabur and Patanjali both have the same product lines?
At least specific product, yes. They should have. At least toothpaste, they should have. They have. Similar products.
How many similar categories do they have?
Not much.
Do that as a homework. Look, I'm going to challenge you as product managers and not consumers. Right? When you say that Patanjali has done well, they also have a large basket than a Dabur. Right? Dabur is not into rice. Dabur is not into atta. Right? Dabur is not into opening their whole lot of product range, which enables them to open up a shop. Right? So, first you've got to figure out where is the competition, what are they doing better? Right? What is the like-to-like competition? And is the product range same or product range different? Right? Just because Dell had phones, right? It would be unfair for me to start comparing ourselves against an Apple. Right? We had phones in 3 countries. They're testing phones in 3 countries. Do you think I'll start comparing ourselves with Apple? No way. Right? So the brand Patanjali is growing. Right? If you want to look at, you rattle off some names. But Dabur didn't go and say they had some brands for it. Patanjali again is from a branding strategy point of view using one brand. It also helps. Right? As product managers, you've got to think about it. Just talking about the brand is product line, right? Yeah. Anything and everything is Patanjali. Right? Whereas Dabur doesn't do that. They say Dabur something, Dabur something, Dabur something. So they're all sub-brands. It's like a Dell Latitude, Dell Inspiron, and so on. While there's a mother brand, they're all sub-brands. So from a consumer point of view, it is that much difficult to remember the names. Right? The Patanjali is very easy. Right? So that's a brilliance in terms of the marketing strategy. Again, the product managers as a team working with the marketing team should have thought about it and said, hey, let's go with this.
So, question probably a very different way. The success of Patanjali is the product manager's positioning or is it the marketing?
Okay. Fundamentally, it is the customer need that is getting fulfilled. I haven't tried Patanjali products, but folks with whom I've spoken to, they claim the product is good. They go for repeat purchase.
At the same time, news is out that it is not tested, and at the same time, saying they are rebranding it, getting the product from outside and rebranding it.
But it doesn't look
Just hold for both.
it's not impact.
Again, I'm going to talk as a product manager, not political.
Yeah.
Right? First step, customer is going for repeat purchase. Customer is key.
Yeah.
Right? It's not being tested, it's a regulatory requirement. As product managers, you have to think about it, whether your company is ethical or not ethical. I'm not commenting on Patanjali, I have no idea. If you have not tested, it's an unethical thing. Right? But if you have tested and met the ethical standards, good. The point is customers are doing it. It's coming from other people rebranding, it's okay. Because that's how you call as product managers outsourcing. Right? If Nike can outsource it to manufacturers in Vietnam and sell it across the world, why should Patanjali give it to a small scale industry sitting in Bhopal for Madhya Pradesh, sitting in Raichur for Karnataka, or sitting in Vizag for Andhra Pradesh? Right? As long as the quality standards are being met, that's a material as a product person. Right? Because what is important for you as a product person is to ensure that your standards are being met. That is, standards are not being compromised. Why does it come to? Your customer need has to be fulfilled, and that is part of your strategy that I will be fastest to the market and closest to the market, and it makes your P&L more meaningful. Instead of having one factory in the country or 20 factories in the country, I'd rather outsource it, which is cheaper for me, and make my P&L more. Right? So the last part is an element of the product strategy. Right? Now, for Patanjali to be successful, I would say fundamentally the customer need is getting fulfilled and repeat customers are happening. Right? Then the product manager has done his or her job of defining the product. And then there is a marketing brilliance on top of it of the umbrella branding of Patanjali. You got a great brand ambassador, right? Which is working for you because that brand started before you got into any of this category. Right? So it's an interplay of the two, but the product is here.
We have done some, as part of an assignment in IPL, we did some analysis, that was about influence of without authority. So we did some research on this Patanjali, specifically Baba Ramdev. And fundamentally what we found out is that the followership was so high for Baba Ramdev, and he always talked about it. So when his brand came in, the followers just followed it. Because toothpaste were available since from iPhone, they are always in iPhone. So customer need was always being fulfilled, and Colgate has always had a bigger share with that. Probably the way Patanjali took over is more on the persona which was driving this, and people saw him as a with a leader of health or a person who is communicating health, and that is what worked out really very well for.
Absolutely
right.
Absolutely right. In my mind, he had this brand of health already with him. Right? That's why I said the customer need of health, or the fear that my health is not good, is what was there, which was getting fulfilled.
Just to add to that, going back to the example of Maggie noodles, what it does look like now is they realize there's an opportunity and then they just mushroom out to various different products. And probably the growth element was really very high initially. Because even today, one of the biggest problems that people have with Patanjali is lack of fraud, which means the distribution channel is very market established. They probably looked at expanding big time, but not being able to do the fulfillment part. We just did a problem.
It's also an interesting problem, right? Yeah. Sometimes you create artificial products to drive more demand. In the short term.
I would like to give here is about the recently Colgate has acquired Sibaka.
Colgate has acquired.
One more Sibaka, CI. So now their Colgate is also coming up with some Ayurvedic type of the toothpaste. That is just to counter the way Patanjali is doing, because Colgate always has close-up and other kinds of Max Gel and white color toothpaste. They never had any Ayurvedic range at all.
See, okay, so look, I'm not a toothpaste expert, but I can tell you a couple of things, right? At least from a soap's point of view, I've sold it. There's no natural ingredient in all this stuff. It's finally a lot to do with the essence. It's a lot to do with essence and fragrances, right? I don't know about toothpaste, so I will, as a disclaimer, I'm being upfront about it. Right? It's a lot to do with fragrances and essence, right? But you're absolutely right. If you did not identify a customer shift, see what is the customer shift that is happening since we are in Patanjali? It was the health requirement. As a nation, suddenly you were getting into why MNCs. If you look at it, suddenly there was cola passion, right? So you suddenly started identifying things as unhealthy, right? And they were all categories which were being run by MNCs, right? And here was somebody who said, I can give you an alternative. And this person was already known for his focus on health, right? And he was focusing only on the body. And he said, okay, I can also focus on the diet and all the things that we use around. So consumer need was getting shifted, or there's a latent consumer need, right, which was not getting fulfilled by anyone. Dabur did try to do it, but they didn't do it in the scale that of a brand ambassador who was completely focused on health, right? I think that's the way you should look at it. Let's look at Maggi for instance, right? When Maggi got introduced about 25 years ago, it didn't do well, right? And the reason it didn't do well is when they launched first, they were trying to be a meal, right? And when they tried to be a meal, it didn't work. Why? Because the Indian mother takes great pride in cooking for her child, right? And here you're communicating to her, you can compromise with humans, right? And so the mother wouldn't touch it. Now, what they found after research is that it can never replace a meal, right? So what they did was they made it a snack. So they found that kids loved it, the mothers didn't like it, and you can never get to a kitchen if the mother doesn't like it. And therefore, the communication, the product manager said, hey, you know what, my customer likes it, but as part of the strategy, I'm not able to fulfill the needs because there's somebody who's there as a gatekeeper, right? So let me circle the gatekeeper and say, hey, what are you doing? You're doing great for kids. But you know what? You need a little snack in the evening when the kid comes back from school or sometime after playing, right? When you yourself are overwhelmed because the kid comes, throws the bag, throws the food, throws everything around, and you want to just give the kid something to eat at that point in time, this can fulfill that, right? So as a product manager, you found the customer need, you found as a strategy you're building what didn't work, and then you try to build it. Right? And that's why I say you've got to be involved in the entire strategy. Otherwise, you have a great product, a customer likes it, if you're not selling anything, they'll shut shop and say, go find something else for us.
So in the shift from advertising to kids versus advertising to parents, is that shift is taken care by a product manager or by a product marketing?
Product marketing. See, the consumer insight on these kind of insights will come in primarily from the marketing communications team who do the product marketing, right? You need to know the consumer insights, you need to know the product, you need to know what your need you're fulfilling. You need that, it's a blend of science and arts, but in my mind, a little bit more of arts and human behavior than the pure product, right? So that's where it is.
So what is the customer need is known to the customer. For example, we should eat healthy. We all know. We all know that good food is from the nature. But in spite of that, I know my need, but I'm still not able to go and take that. So when you talked about the rational and the impulse, how do I, this rationality is there in the human, how do I convert this need into a product?
You're talking as
Because
you're asking this question as a consumer or as
a product manager.
What product do you want to sell to the consumer?
I want to sell fresh food.
Fresh food. Fresh what food? Ready to eat cooked food? You want to sell raw vegetables? What do you want to sell?
I want to sell raw vegetables, salads, soups, stuff like that. They also know that this is good. I also know that this is good. But there is a phenomenal gap which we are not able to fulfill. One is the supply. I mean, you cannot produce lettuce just like that. I mean, like how they produce Maggi, we cannot produce lettuce. It takes time, the cycles and all of that. So how do we, this is God given, I don't know how to sell this.
Why don't we discuss? Okay. How many of you heard about organic farms? There are farms that taking care of the customer. If you want to sell only raw vegetables and fruits which are produced without chemicals, right? And there are consumers for it. You've got to go find out your stores and be able to sell it.
Okay. The background of this, I'm a designer, that's one part of my profession. The other side, I'm also a restaurant who believes in health, wellness, good food.
See, that's why I asked you what do you want to sell. If you want to sell only vegetables, it's a different problem. If you want to sell cooked food, it's a different problem. You want to open a restaurant which is only healthy eating, it's a different problem.
We have a restaurant which is only healthy eating. Now we want to go to a large number of customers. Because just serving in Hyderabad, just in Jubilee, this alone is not enough from a business perspective. And because we are spending enough amount of time and energy in doing that. So I'm asking this from a product strategy perspective. We know that this is a good product, but it's not about marketing. So which comes first? I mean,
it's not about marketing. You know, from a consumer insight point of view, right? Where do you get the healthiest food as a consumer?
from home.
Home, right?
Mom.
The healthiest food is at home. That's the belief. Why do you go out to eat? I didn't say it. Why do you go out to eat?
People need different occasion, change.
Yeah. So you are. What was the reason you are getting out of your zone of good eating? You call it entertainment. You call it you want to give your wife a rest. Or if you are cooking yourself a rest, or you call it yourself that you want to change. Essentially, what you're saying is that I don't want to eat this.
But we don't do these days. Sweeties taking care.
I'm trying to define the problem for you.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So you got to think this through that look, primarily when you're eating out, you're indulging yourself. Right? Or there are youngsters who don't get an opportunity to cook at home. They are busy, they're eating in their office canteen, breakfast, lunch, come back home and they're trying to figure out what to eat. So you got to define your customer. Right? There is a need for the customer. You got to define your customer and take your strategy end to end as to who is your customer and what's the frequency your customers will buy. Right? Bulk of the people who go out to eat, they go to indulge themselves. They want to be bad. Right? I'm talking the food language, right? They don't want to go and eat healthy outside.
This is office lunch.
Right? Yeah, so it happens. But I'm saying if you were to step back and see, the large proportion of people don't want to eat healthy when they eat out. Right? So you got to, as a product manager, start thinking, saying that, okay, there are a bunch of people who want to eat out healthy. Why do they want to eat out healthy? Who are they? How do I get to them? That is what you got to define as your strategy. Right? Once you define that as strategy, then you got to go and say, how do I fulfill that need? Comes back to the same stuff. right? There is a customer need, I'm not denying it. But be conscious that there's a small segment, it's a niche segment of that need. And then you've got to figure out how to fulfill the need. There are multiple requirements of that need. Yeah.
How does the look at the expanding? So that can only be X kind of customer with our case, for example. And then how do we influence to increase the customer base in a way? So that we also look at making the revenue.
It depends on what you want to do. But see, revenues are a misnomer. Margins are what makes. Right? Look, I could run a business at 50% margin. I'm okay with running a 10 crore business. Or I could run a 2% margin. I will never be able to make the 5 crores till the scale goes up pretty high. Right? So you got to define what you want to do. And what is the turnover you want, what's the margin you want, why do you want that scale, right? I mean, I'm not getting into her business, but she'll have to define what is scale. Will you be able to handle something which is across the country, right? And therefore, will you be able to put in that, when you define the strategy, you got to get those products, right? For a minute, if I go back and go further. If it's a restaurant business of healthy eating as a chain, right? Let's say Barbecue Nation is a chain, McDonald's is a chain. She wants to start a chain of healthy eating, right? Then you got to figure out that entire stuff. In a restaurant business, you got to figure out your source of raw material. You got to figure out your resources of labor in each of these places who will actually cook the food and serve the food. You got to keep the menu fresh, which will keep exciting for the customers, right? Eating junk food, same food again is okay because the salt in that food is what makes you go again and again to a McDonald's or those French fries. But healthy eating is not that. Right? So you want to find what is the reason for the customer to come back to you. And then build your plans and say how are you going to do it? How many locations can you do it? And how will you scale up? Right? Have you guys watched the movie McDonald's?
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's a brilliant story in terms of how we build the scale. So you have to start thinking about saying that if I have to do that for this particular customer need, how do I think to that scale? Right? So I would say that's how you would make your business plan, right? And it will not be when McDonald's started. Why I asked you the movie is that he started with a small one before he went to X number of X thousands of stores across the world, right? So that's the way you will have to start thinking. I still haven't answered your question.
Sorry, just a continuation. So, from all the looks of it, is it about how do I market that is first, or the strategy that comes first?
Strategy.
Because the product is there, the product is ready.
You don't know I don't know the product is ready. Let me be upfront. People get obsessed with product. I get obsessed with customer need. Right? Define your customer. Mothers cooking, every bachelor in this country who's staying in a hostel needs homemade food. Right? You'll find a lot of restaurants selling kaka. That fulka dal, that sabji is a hit anywhere. That's the core thing that people need. The product is there, but the question again asked is that right? If you get obsessed with the product, you forget the customer. So you got to figure out what customer need and what scale you want to run.
They don't want to eat healthy.
That's what I told you. Right? But there are a lot of people who want to eat healthy.
Right.
I can give you.
When they're sick,
No.
the doctor told them reduce.
No. I can give you an example at home. My wife now says, whenever you go out, let's eat healthy. So my sons are saying, you know what? Why are you stepping out of home if you're to eat healthy? Why don't you eat at home and we'll all go out? Right? But so there is a person who wants to eat healthy. Right? But you have to define what is healthy for them.
So I can give an example. During my bachelor time, I was staying in BT. There was some restaurant chain which were running with the name Kaka. But as 7 years back, I'm not sure if they are still there. So the way they advertise is they are getting a homely food. And they were charging premium, and we were ready to pay it. And there were peak times you had to wait for about 15-20 minutes to get a chance. They were successful. Even though they were not messaging this is healthy, but name itself and the things that they were serving is homely.
should you try? I think what she has vision is a McDonald's of healthy food. Right? Yeah. So you will go for it together.
But what I've seen in Wall Street, New York, so I think 70% of the restaurants are like bars and like soup and salads. And even that place used to be like really crowded, so you really have to wait like 15-20%. So pretty much all the crowd who used to work in the Wall Street. So they knew, like, I think anyways, they used to come there like 7:30 to office, so they couldn't prepare it. So they still wanted to eat. Even though there were other restaurants, which was like, but majority of the Wall Street was dominated by salads and soups.
You can start calculating.
So I'd like to like those restaurants, I think they open only between 11 to 3 and they close, but the rest of the restaurants they will be open for lunch as well as for dinner. Because they know like majority of the customers would leave that place by 5:30 in the evening.
So the customer need is defined, right? That's the point. Customer need is defined, and you know where to open the restaurant. Because then you're close to the customer, right? Convenience for the customer. And then you're able to make a business model, right? That's why I said you need to have a complete strategy on how to do that. So you want to do that entire study before you can do all the stage, right? So come to your question, that's what we started with. From a Dell point of view, or any business, let's look at the product strategy as how do you enter a market where there are already other players. So there could be two ways of entry, right? One could be that you are, I can give you an example which is different. When I worked for Wipro, there was 17, Wipro was the 17th brand of a bulb. Right? So, why are you getting into a business when you're the 17th brand? Okay. So that's entering a new market for the company, but the product exists, right? So you're not fulfilling any new need. There's a need, customer need is already getting fulfilled, yet you decide to enter the business because you still think that there is a way to make money. Right? And that could also mean entering new markets. So Wipro was that. The question that you asked about Dell was there's a compact and HP already there in India, and you're entering a new market. So essentially, what you have to at that point in time do is this part is very well defined. This is where you go to think through the thing, right? As to how are you fulfilling the need. And I'll give you both the examples. Did I talk about Wipro last time? I don't want to bore you by questions. Okay. So, when did anyone buy a last bulb you like? You bought it? From where did you buy it?
Metro online.
Amazon. Okay, before Amazon came. Nearby electrical shop. Okay. So, what Wipro did was, Wipro did the analysis and said, one, there's a lot of money to be made in that industry, right? The entire business was run through electrical hardware shops. So be it Philips, be it Lakshman Sylvania, Surya, Seema, Compton Dreams, Deco Bhulajana, right? ACE, Mysore Labs, right? Everybody was selling through electrical hardware shops, right? Go back to your childhood days now. Don't look at the CFL and Amazon, right? Go back to the childhood days. This is one category which you never kept the product at home, right? Jab fuse ho gaya, और खूब घर लेके आओ, correct? Because whether the fuse location or in the bedroom or in the study table or somewhere, the need is immediate, correct? So the kid is sent to go and buy from the electrical shop and come. If it's too late, the father will go because food never chance are. Look, as product guys, you think as a customer inside, right? This is important for you to understand the purchase behavior, right? Now, interestingly, those days and very consumer behavior. Let's ask the Amazon just for fun of it. What did you buy recently? LED tube light. Which brand did you buy? Which wattage did you buy? Did you decide the wattage first or the brand first?
First watt and then brand.
First watt and then brand.
If I recall back, the bulbs were not picked up from the electrical shop. I remember we always used to pick up the bulbs from the Kirana shop. We used to have a small normal bulbs. There is limited policy only on that shop.
Okay. Just hold that for a minute. So what used to happen as a purchase behavior is you went, and those days electricity bills were expensive. Or let me say, even now it's more expensive. Those days electricity bills as a percentage of the family spend used to be higher. So there was consciousness at home of buying the bulbs. So you went and bought whether a 40 watt bulb, 60 watt or 100 watt, right? Only outside the house where you wanted bright light, 100 watt ka, that is usually 60 watt ka bulb, correct? So then what used to happen is, you will go to a shop and say 60 watt ka bulb, right? Like you also said wattage, 60 watt ka bulb. That guy would keep one bulb in front of you like this. And then irrespective, whoever is the kid buying or the father buying or the mother buying, would look at the brand and say, it's got an ad dekha. Either aate pehle Seema bulb, Surya bulb or something happened. I've seen this. But invariably the question they would ask is, Philips nahi hai kya? Because Philips was a market leader, right? So, what happened was that the stranglehold of these guys as a channel was very strong. They controlled the pricing and they would always negotiate at a lower price from the companies. Because Sarkot, he's pushing the product. And if he says, "Nahi, Philips nahi hai, acha le lo," it doesn't matter whether it's Crompton, EC, National Silver, you always take. It's not a personal product. It's a very rational product. Along with the Sarkot hi aayega. Right? There's no emotion from you to that bulb, right? As a customer. So, the influence of this was very large. As a product manager, ideation with the sales leaders and the entire business plan was, what was Wipro's strength? Wipro's strength was a consumer business, which they had Vanaspati, they had big range of products, Santu, Shikakai and all that stuff, which was being sold to the Kirana shops. Right? Wipro was the first company, to your point, to introduce bulbs to the Kirana shops. Why? They had the strength, and the second thing as a product manager was, the first thing in your mind is the fuse हुआ per consumer को चाहिए. There are more Kirana shops than electrical shops. So instead of a child running, that's why I said it's a bulb child goes, instead of a child running to an electrical shop, if the child went to the Kirana shop just next door, it's faster than going to an electrical shop. Right? That consumer insight with company strength got leveraged, and the distribution strategy was to go to the Kirana shops. It helped the company realize better prices because Kirana shops were never used to selling bulbs. Right? So the price that you could get in a Kirana shop compared to an electrical shop was high. Again, by Kirana shop has got 6,000 SKUs. This is 6,001. Right? So for him, he's just looking at it as a small margin. Electrical shop dependence on this is high. For him, this has to be high margin. Obviously, his survival is a big question. So company was able to realize better. So as a product strategy, the customer need was same, was getting fulfilled by 16 other brands. But as a product strategy, you needed to have the consumer insight and your distribution strategy had to get involved in it because the strategy to fulfill the need was being taken care of, right? So that's how. So your point is right. Then all the other brands started following on the Kirana. Now there were complications and challenges as sales guys because Kirana shops don't want to keep bulbs or didn't want to keep bulbs. But that's a different story. As product guys, you got to figure out what need is getting fulfilled and how you're moving it. Right? To your question of, I'll just finish this company. The question of what does a company do or what does a product manager do when you're entering a market when there are already other products. Right? So Dell did something similar when they came in here and said, how do we look at fulfilling this, which is different from the others. One thing which Dell did differently was that those days the trend was the market was roughly 65-70% desktops and 30-35% notebooks. But it was already indicating that notebooks are growing and desktops are remaining stagnant. So Dell as a company decided to invest on notebooks. Their entire strategy was focused on notebooks, whereas HP and Compaq and other players were trying to balance their portfolio. That is one way the distribution strategy or the product focus within the product line, right, was different, which helped in terms of capturing because you were investing in a growing category more than what others were investing in. Right? Yes, ma'am, you have a question.
Okay, so when you said when you go non-food parts, is it that you try to be listed in the hardware shops and then move to the grocery shops, or is it from the right from the beginning to the grocery shop?
Right from beginning to the grocery shop.
Okay.
Right? And at a point in time, they went back to the hardware because the volumes were here. Right? Huge volumes were here. So they had to go back here. But what they wanted to do was first establish. So initially when you're starting a new business, right, you need revenues and you need margins. Right? If you were to go into them, your realization is low. You would have continued to be negative, right? And you're not making money, then you would have been holding the neck of the president and saying that what the hell is happening, right? So they started this, the Kirana shops, to ensure that you're breaking even, but for growth, after a year, went back.
So was there a differential pricing strategy?
Yeah, it is. It's volume, right? You get more volumes in ethical shops, obviously demand more discounts.
Good evening, JK. So in the example of Dell being a PC business and then venturing into the phones business, as a product professional, how do we go about building a strategy proposal? There are multiple tools available like BCG metrics and Fortress 5, Fortress analysis and all that. So could you shed some light on how do we go about building that strategy proposal to the leadership?
Okay. I tell you what has worked for me, right? The 4Cs model, right? The context is more the macroeconomic environment, right? We talked a little while earlier about the serving the nation becoming health conscious, not wanting chemicals in their foods, right? Or trying to be articulating that we don't want still when they eat those chips and chocolates. But the shift, right? So that's the macroeconomic context of what you're trying to do, right? For example, in today's macroeconomic environment, trying to introduce a beef-based product may not be a great strategy for a company, right? Customer, what that entire thing revolves around this one, right? First part, customer need, right? What customer need are you fulfilling? And so that's something which you got to be clear saying that, look, you would have read this Porter's famous saying, right?
if you don't get the lead, if you say that are you in the writing business or you are in the pencil business? Are you in the plane business or are you in the transportation business? Right? So you have to figure out the need that you're fulfilling. Then you get into competition. How is that need getting fulfilled today? Right? There are automobiles and automobiles. But Elon Musk decided that Tesla, even though there is need getting fulfilled, he decided that the need can be fulfilled differently. Right? And then finally about the company. So depending on where you are, like you said, you're looking at phones versus the PCs, right? To build a strategy. So what are the elements of the PC business that you will leverage, and what are the business that you scale? For example, I can say that when we launched the phones in India, right? We leveraged. If I look at the products were totally different, the product teams were different, but we leveraged the marketing team. We realized the marketing team had great customer insights. They could do a great work in terms of customer insights and marketing. And they had helped build the Dell brand. So we leveraged the marketing. From a distribution point of view, we realized that we could leverage some distributors, but in some markets we had to have completely different distributors. We did not sell our phones in our PC shops. We did not sell our phones in our Dell exclusive shops. Right? Because again, customer behavior, unlike PCs, on phones, people had a sort of impulsive behavior in buying phones, and therefore they wanted to see a variety of choice before they picked up one. Right? And therefore, you have to be in the channel which was selling phones, then be in the PC channel and try to sell phones. Right? So those are the elements that we did to go look into it. So this model is what has worked for me. This worked for so many years. So at this point, I will stick to it. I'm not saying it's the only one, but you mentioned a few of them. I would say as a product person, broadly, if you are clear about 2 or 3 things, fundamentally the fact that you need to be clear about the customer need and not get obsessed with the product. Right? A lot of product managers get obsessed with the product and say my product should definitely be selling. And you sales guys are lousy, you don't know how to sell my product. Right? That I see this concept very often. But you want to think about saying that am I clear about fulfilling the need? Build the strategies around that distribution. Right? You'll have to, this is operational, but since you asked about strategy, these two would pretty much be the forces.
How do we know that there is a real need and the customer also realizes that and the company is also making a great product? But the gap, why is not reaching the customer? Is it marketing? Is it sales? I mean, how do we know what is
customer research? So there are different ways to do research. You will have to get to finding that. If you know that there's a customer need, my question is how do you have you researched the customers? Have you spoken to them? Have you understood the need? And if you've got feedback from them, do you have critical knowledge? What I mean by that is, look, I have been loving Korean food, right? I'm a great fan of Korean food. But how many such cases are there which makes it meaningful for you to open a Korean restaurant? Right? So you identify the need just by talking to me, but that's not a business model. Right? You've got to find enough KKs who will come back with enough frequency for you to make it a business model. Right? And then you should be able to communicate to them, hey, you know what, all the KKs out there who love Korean food, I've got a great restaurant, come. Right? So, unless you've done that, don't spend any money on your marketing dollars. You've got to do research first to figure out, saying that are you actually fulfilling the need and is there enough critical mass for you to be in the business? Why did they get out of the phone business? Right? We're out 3 years back. The reason we are out is because we realized that you need to have scale to make money, which is also there in the PC business, so nothing new. But the requirement here is you're going to introduce products in a shorter window. So product cycles have to be within 10 to 12 weeks. Right? And you need to have a huge scale for you to make money. And the only person making money in this entire business was one brand.
no, Apple, right? Samsung makes money on and off, despite the fact that Samsung supplies a bulk of the components to Apple, right? So, if the scale is not there, then you got to get out. So, is there a customer need? Yes. Right? Is it getting fulfilled? Yes. But you don't have the critical mass and you don't have the IP to go make money. Right? Whereas in the PC business, because you're already an established player, you have the critical mass and you have the scale to make money. Right? So we went in there thinking that it can get replicated. After going in there, you realize that it cannot get replicated because the ecosystem is different. It is not the same suppliers of working with PCs for giving you phones. It is not the same components which are getting used. So there is no leverage at the back end. There is no leverage at the front end because the sales motions are different. The way consumers price are different. Right? So it's entirely a separate line of business, which was very difficult to make money. You keep pouring money and hope that you make money after a few years. Right? Instead of that, Michael then decided that why do I want to get into this? I'll get into the entire services part and the enterprise part, server storage, where the investments are much lower and the returns are much higher.
That also came out of the phone.
I go back to the when you are in both then also in right? So what are the three things that you saw as a leader, a product leader, in terms of strategy, which you learned, the three things that you learned from both the companies, which worked for you and which didn't work?
You need three or better things.
Yeah, you can have more.
No, it could be less also. Okay, in the interest of time, I'll take this and move on to numbers. Okay, so I think I mentioned this last time, right? I was the culprit who introduced non-Windows based PCs in this country for branded products, right? So that to me was a learning, right? That the company was willing to take a risk for the simple reason that there was a customer need, which we were force fitting it, right? By the fact that you had to buy a legitimate operating system.
I remember the because when I bought my first PC for the 1996, 1988, it came with only around that time. It just came with DOS, and I had to do a validated version of Windows.
Which brand did you buy? So the idea was not to encourage piracy. The idea was we sold both, right? We said if you're giving customers a choice in terms of processor, right, whether you want AMD or Intel, if you're giving customers a choice of hard drive, if you're giving customers a choice of optical drive, whether you want CD or DVD, right? Why would you not give customers a choice of operating system, right? So to me, that was the highlight because I was able to convince people within HP that hey, we should give customers a choice, right? It did get seen in many ways that you're going to encourage piracy. But my point was that I'm not encouraging piracy, I just give customers choice. And why? Because Microsoft is anyway selling their Windows operating system in the retail pack. So if Venkat wanted to buy a Windows operating system, he would go buy it. Why should my price be higher? Why should I force fit it if he doesn't want it? So why am I not giving him a choice? Right? So that insight on customer and the way you package it, right, and the way you persuasive help in terms of the product being accepted. If you remember the numbers that we shared, desktops were at about 6% market share. We were able to take it to about 17% share, right? Just by offering customers a choice as a product. From a Dell point of view, I think the learning was to get out of the home business. Right? We introduced the phones, we introduced the tablets, we realized that look, they were fads.
When the netbook came, we didn't introduce them. Acer was the one which introduced netbooks a lot in India. They did well for a year and a half. We had netbooks, but we didn't introduce them. We didn't go behind it. But I think we got overwhelmed by the phones and we got into it. It did well in India, but we realized that doing well in India is meaningless because the volumes are actually in China and US, right? And China, US, both markets work with the carrier. So you can't go and buy a phone and buy a connection, right? You work a package with the carrier, and lot is different from the carrier, right? And breaking those carrier cartels are very, very, very difficult and a long game, right? And our US and China teams are not, they're not keen to do it. So the question was that we were not getting scale. Our counterparts were not selling, so it was making it difficult for us. Every time we went back to the global team, they would say, yeah, your volumes are not inside. Why? Because those volumes, they could not go and negotiate the price cost at which we wanted as product. So at a point in time, we had to say, you know what, be happy, away from it. So we sent our recommendation, and at the same time, I also took a decision that we'll get out of it.
So that I think the critical mass is there. Decided that this is not a bad.
But the biggest challenge as a product guy is not about deciding not to go. The biggest challenge as a product guy is to get out of it without impacting the span. Which I think we were successful in doing. Right? We did not face customer backlash. Right? That we got rid of phones or we got rid of tablets in India, it had an impact on PC. Right? So to me, that was the success part that we got out of it without impacting the span.
But how do we test this without spending much time and money?
That's one.
For example, we have known that phones, my major market is China and US, and
we knew that. So it's a lot of work that you can do on secondary research. So we knew how China market works, we know how the US market works. But to get that volume, just as I said 3 examples, right? If I go back. 1, 2, and 3, right? When you're doing this, you already have leverage of the company scale, right? When you're doing this, your approach has to be different, right? Many of the costs that are coming is because you are here, right? Here, the approach of testing is different because here you're actually testing the concept of food, right? In your case, so you'll have to test that concept and say, hey, okay, are people liking the food in the middle, right? And then are they willing to have this food? How often are they willing to do within the sample size? Then you got to figure out, say, how many such people are there, right? The point that he was making about Karkama, right? 7-8 restaurants, right? Obviously, somebody did that homework and said, and I'm sure it will be next to all the bachelor packs or all the hostels, right? All the PGs, right? So that's the homework that Google is doing as a business. As product managers, here we are being taught to think structure. But if you look at most of the businessmen, that's what they're doing. They're saying, okay, critical mass hai, hostels hai, PGs hai, all outside of home, chalo unko ghar ka khana. Right? So that data need is how they are quickly filtering the process and arriving at it. You are putting a structure to it, but that's how you have to do it, to test out how it's going. And the food business is usually a challenging business because people want variety when they're getting out to eat. Right? That's why I said that's the reason why they want that option, not so healthy option. Right. Hey, good. Thank you for having me. I hope the session was useful. Right.
Like no other professor, right? Because he teaches from his own experiences. And I think there is a spirit in which, we have designed this program is to bring practitioners' experiences to class more than anything else. And I think you represent that spirit like most of our faculty members. Thank you so much for your time. And most importantly, coming second time and sharing your experiences. And I was fortunate to have you here. And we'd like to see you regularly in our classes, if that is possible. But definitely,
Definitely we would like to have you more in our strategy classes for us to learn more from you. So thank you very much for spending the Saturday evening with us. The token of appreciation for you.
It's okay, yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.